Here we go. It's the full-time Devils preview. It's Liverpool against Manchester United. Mate, how are you feeling? Nerves?
Nothing to worry about.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
piss off, mate. Well, I mean, we are the only team in the league that's taken points off this bloody mob so far this season. But on the preview with me today, we've got Stephen Howson here. We've got Gareth as well from the Anfield Wrap. And of course, Jay Motty and myself, Gaz Drinkwater. Right, guys, let's get stuck into it. First thing to talk about from a United perspective, I suppose, is that our best player is out of this game, mate.
Pogba.
Come on, Marcus Rashford has got to be the star boy this season. For me, he's our best player.
No, definitely. He's certainly our best player this season, without a doubt. He's the one that's making us tick, and he's scoring goals every week for fun. At the time recording, is he definitely out? There's talk of him maybe making it, but not being 100%, having some injections, and his legs strapped up and wheeled out. Do you know what I mean? I think it's... Listen, if there's even a slim chance of Marcus Rashford playing in this game, I think we've got to play him because we need him, basically. Even with Marcus Rashford, it's going to be difficult without him. I don't think we've got much of a chance. And he is a player that always does well against Liverpool. He's the only player that I've ever seen bully Virgil van Dijk. He's got a good goal-scoring record against him. And even last season when he was hobbling around the pitch at Old Trafford, he was still getting in behind him. So, for me, if there's even a 1 in 10 chance of Marcus Rashford playing, I'd play him. I know that's people go, well, long-term, and what's this game matter? But... Of course it matters. It's United versus Liverpool. This game is always going to matter, and you need your best players playing. It's bad enough we've not got McTominay and Pogba, but to not have Rashford as well would just be a bridge too far. So for me, I'd play him.
See, I think I'm veering towards not rushing him back if we don't have to. I know it's United-Liverpool, and I know the game itself, just as a one-off game, is important enough. But I think that this season we're going to have to be challenging for top 4, and he is going to be so important to that. And I don't want to aggravate his injury, even for a game against Liverpool. Howson, what do you think?
I don't know where that stuff come about him, like playing with an injection and stuff. As of 6 o'clock last night, I was trying to find out what a script was, and he was waiting on getting a scan. So for all that to have come out about that time, I'm not sure I'm buying it. It is the Mirror as well, so pinch of salt, handful of salt about whether or not that's the script. I'm on the fence because I totally think that, yeah, of course, we need to try and get a victory against Liverpool, even just for fucking pride, because I swear to God they're going to go on about it so much if they do this undefeated this season. Look, laughing already. No, it's going to happen. So I think that our best chance of putting a dent in that, it might be us. Like we are not the second best team in this league by a long stretch, but we have managed to stifle Liverpool of late big time. And like the last time they came to Old Trafford prior to the one this season, they created less chances than Burnley. This time there was a lot of arguments to say that United, but for ridiculous defending, probably come away with the 3 points in that game. And that counter-attacking style of play does seem to work pretty well against them. They have such a high defensive line, and the best player on the counter-attack for us, and the guy that's the... If you had to say, who do you think is going to perform in a big game? Marcus Rashford should be the first name on your lips for that. There has not been bigger occasions that, from his debut onwards, Marcus Rashford delivers in the big matches. So for me, losing Marcus Rashford in this game is worse than Pogba. I don't think he's a better footballer than Pogba, and I think that missing him and Pogba is absolutely catastrophic. But if I could choose one of them to miss out, it wouldn't be Marcus Rashford.
You can go even further than that, though. We've got loads of injuries. Even McTominay is out, and how important could he be in a game like this where, Liverpool are going to try and run the midfield? Gareth here from the Anfield Wrap. Gareth, what do you think of all their Man United injuries? Do you think it gives Liverpool... it obviously gives you a bigger chance, but would you be that bothered without the injuries?
I think, you look at United's record this season and some of the sides that you've lost to, and I would say, we should just be going in and playing a match, not the occasion. These matches have been huge in the past. It means a lot to me as a fan. I still always want to beat the Mancs at everything. That's the way I am. I'm sure you are the same about Liverpool, and long may that continue. Rivalries in football are great. And, I think a lot of football's been sanitised over the years, so let's not sanitise this. But if Rashford's out, for instance, I think he's a fantastic player, obviously. He's a homegrown lad as well. He's got that in him. And I think that matters in these type of games. We used to see it with Gerrard. Gerrard had raised his game to play against the Mancs. You'd expect him to. Rashford raises his game to play against us. So if he's out, that is obviously a huge boost for us. And he's caused us problems in the past, as was said there. He's caused Trent problems. He's even, as was mentioned, had little moments against Van Dijk, and Van Dijk has been pretty much flawless for the past sort of year, 18 months. So if he's out, it's a huge boost for us, don't get me wrong. But I think, you look at our home record, how we've been playing, where we are in the league, we should be winning this game regardless, obviously. And I think Klopp is really good at getting the players now to sort of forget about who they're playing. So we go mad about Everton, we go mad about Man United. I don't really think the team do. They maybe do a little bit at Old Trafford still. You mentioned that performance last season. It was really frustrating for us. We didn't turn up, and we should have been turning up. We were going for the title at the time. And, United lifted their game. The ground was rocking as well. And fair play to you. I can go back years and remember when we were shite, basically. And United came to Anfield and we beat you. And, when we're singing You Lost the League on Merseyside, and I really enjoyed it as a cop-out, obviously. But, a couple of days on, I thought, it's not that good being shite, is it? I wish it was us going for the title. And now it is. And so, I think it's one of those games, like I say, where we just need to play our game, not play the occasion, not get wrapped up in all that. And I think that's what will happen.
Okay, let's focus on the players that are out and more focus on the players that are going to be sort of relied on to replace them. Obviously, Anthony Martial will be the sole figure as the goal scorer in this one. Maybe Mason Greenwood could start. Fred will be expected to run the midfield. How important are they going to be?
I think Fred it amazes me this, because a few months ago, if you said, do I think Fred's going to have a career at Manchester United, I'd probably argue probably not, but he's become so important to us, and he's actually played a lot of games, and he's played a lot of good games as well. And it was the home game against Liverpool this season when I first noticed him. Well, not noticed him, but thought maybe there is a player there, because I thought he did really well in that sort of more defensive role. Listen, we've lost McTominay, we've lost Pogba, so we are threadbare in midfield, and our only regular midfielder we've got left is Fred, and he's been playing well. Obviously, he can't do it all on his own, though. We need more players than just Fred against a Liverpool team that's pretty rampant. You mentioned there, Anthony Martial. Martial, unlike Marcus Rashford, he doesn't always consistently turn up in the big games, but he has got a decent record in big games. He's just a little bit more inconsistent in those types of matches.
Tendency to go missing sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes he will go missing, and sometimes he does turn up. So we've just got to hope that this is one of those games where he can cause some problems, because we've seen Anthony Martial cause everyone problems. I know it's going back a few years and he was a different type of player, but I remember him against Virgil van Dijk at Southampton. He caused him all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
So we've got to hope that he can turn up and do that as well. Mason Green was on absolute fire. Young player who people are saying maybe you've got to handle him with kid gloves and just sort of bring him in slowly. But for me, if he's scoring loads of goals and he's playing as well as he is, like when Rashford burst on the scene, just keep playing him. Keep playing him. You could maybe throw Brandon Williams into the mix there as well as a young player who's come in, playing really well. And just keep throwing him in, because the fact of the matter is we haven't got the choice of being fussy here. We can't say, oh, well, okay then, we'll rest Mason Greenwood, we'll rest Brandon Williams. Who's coming in? Players that probably are out of form or aren't quite up to it. So for me, whoever's fit and is playing well, and those players we've mentioned are fit and are playing well, then you've got to use them. So yeah, throw them all in.
Howson, what have you made of Fred in the last couple of months? Obviously, a lot of people weren't his biggest fan earlier on this season. Is he just going through a bit of a purple patch, or is it even a purple patch? Has he even been in that good form, or are we exaggerating?
He has been in good form, noticeably good form. The problem with Fred is you just got to not let him shoot. I'm serious. It sounds funny, but like everything up to him shooting is brilliant. It's not Ballon d'Or winning, it's not World 11 winning, but it's very, very high standard. He's giving and going. His movement's fantastic. He covers every single blade of grass. I don't think defensively he's not Kante. It's not that sort of game, but he's a really useful number 8. And I think it's shown up when Pogba came on for that 45 minutes that he came on with a couple of weeks ago. You saw the difference in the ability to be able to move the ball through the lines. He can't play those balls, or if he does play those balls, he plays them 1 in 10 of the times he should play those balls. Him and McTominay, both of them have been having good seasons prior to McTominay's injury. He was playing really well. But there's levels to this, and there's levels to where we could go to with better midfielders. I got no problem with seeing Fred in the starting 11 anymore, which I probably used to have a little bit of a like, what's going to happen here? But he's definitely settled in, and maybe that was the issue with him. Maybe he needed a bit of time to settle in. There was the City interest in him was real. I don't think Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, who've got one of the outside of the Scousers, have got one of the most lauded recruitment teams. I don't think they're looking at bringing in Fred if he's a total donut. But he did take a little bit of settling in, and he is looking pretty good for it now. But I think he needs better players around him because he's literally holding together that midfield on his own. Matic has come in and looked decent of late, but let's be honest, like Andreas Pereira, he's had plenty. I think he's played 20 games or something, the 27 games this year, something mad like that. The fact that they're having to do it short-handed because Andreas Pereira's just got the decision-making of a fucking open gate in the wind, honestly.
But we've known it for years, though. That's what's annoying.
Have we though?
Yeah, we have. When he was at Valencia, we knew it was crap.
Always sort of flattered to deceive. He always has a good pre-season. He has 1 or 2 good games, and you think, oh, maybe there's a player there, and then he has 18 bad ones or whatever.
So I don't want to have a go at him too much.
No, I don't. But I think, he's had his chance now and he's just not good enough. And the fact that we've seen him subbed so many times this season as well for Jesse, who's having the worst season he's probably ever had, and yet he's getting brought off for him, just shows you where we're at. And it's just the only reason Pereira's getting so many good games is because we let the likes of Herrera and even Fellaini go and we didn't replace him.
Well, that was interesting when we were talking about the centre midfield options then, and Herrera would get straight in this team for Sunday's game, absolutely. Gareth, I'm interested what a opposition fan's opinion is on someone like Fred, looking beyond the fact that he's got quite a funny name.
Yeah, I mean, the name is a thing, I think, isn't it? It just doesn't sound like a footballer. But, he was 50 million quid or thereabouts, wasn't he? And I think, I'd probably be fair to say that he hasn't delivered on that kind of price tag so far. I think for me with him, I'm surprised the way you're talking about him so well. I'm not watching United loads, obviously, but what I've seen bits of him and thought, yeah, he's starting to look okay now, which I'm kind of surprised with because he was a little bit of a joke figure, wasn't he? And I think in general as well, some of the players that are in and around United's squad at the moment, I just look at them as a Liverpool fan and go, they're not United players. Do you know what I mean? Not the United I know and hate. Because that's what we had with Liverpool really for a while as well. The sort of Hodgson era where players were coming in and you just thought these players should be nowhere near Anfield. Why are we signing these players? And then of course as a fan you try and make the best of it and you try and sort them up and try and look for some positives. But ultimately there were so many players that came through the door at Anfield that should never have been given that chance. And once upon a time, when we were good and we were winning things and we were doing that consistently, you used to look at players playing for other teams and say, he's a Liverpool player, he's a type of player we should be going and getting. I'm sure you've got exactly the same thing at Manchester United. And I do think that over a period of time, some of the standards have slipped, whether that be your recruitment, whether that be managers, whether it be Ed Woodward, I don't know. I'm not fully au fait on what goes behind the scenes at Old Trafford. But it does seem to me that there's some players there though that shouldn't be there for me, that aren't the level that you should be at. Because United, whatever we say in this whole show and whatever we say before this game, look at the league table and United, as the size of the club they are, the support they've got, the history they've got, everything else. You shouldn't be rocking around in 5th and 6th and talking about scraping into Champions League places. You should be near the top. You should be where we are. You should be slugging it out for leagues. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm glad you're down there, and it's nice and I'm enjoying it while it lasts and all the rest of it. And I'm sure you'll be back. I mean, I get same as all you lot. I get calls off the media at times, and they want you to do things, and I don't always take them because some of them I just think, no, I don't want to be the banter boy. Do you know what I mean? And like I remember getting a call about United. They wanted me to come on and be the mouthy scouser and say, oh yeah, the shite and the fucked and they're never going to do better and again. And I was a bit like, they've got loads of money though, mate, and they've got a massive stadium, they've got huge support. They'll be back. You just need to get the right manager and sort the recruitment out, and they'll be sound. And
don't patronise us, Gareth.
Do you know what I mean? No, I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be that man.
That's how bad it is, isn't it?
I didn't want to be that man. I just think it's shite, all that. It's shite that we always go down that road. I mean, what one of you mentioned before about something we were doing on BT, and look, it was a bit of a laugh. We went head to head and we had to go at each other and all that. But there's a bit too much of that around at times, and I just think, nah, right now, don't get me wrong, look, I'm looking at the odds, and Manchester United are 8-1 to win this game, which is mad. Do you know what I mean? I've grown up, obviously, all through the Ferguson era, hating you bastards, even when I thought, like, you had crap teams, or not teams quite what they should be. You always seem to find a way, and people like John O'Shea are popping up and stuff like that, and you're just like, fucking hell, this is never going to turn. And it has turned. But it will turn back again the other way one day. That's why we just got to make the most of it, win this fucking league.
I miss the Roy Hodgson, Paul Konchesky days. I miss those days.
I don't mate.
Bring them back.
Before we get into predicted 11s today, I want to ask you, because it's just come out this morning, we're recording this on the Friday, that Harry Maguire is going to be the United captain for the rest of the season. I'm not sure if we've got a video on that coming out soon, but
No,
Jay,
we haven't. But
there's an idea. Write that one down, Nick.
We might have to make one now.
Record that later. So quick one on Harry Maguire as the new Man United captain.
Makes sense. We've not exactly got a long list of candidates, have we? I think our most experienced players don't get in the team when everyone's fit. And I'm sure Howson will defend him, but Ashley Young wasn't exactly the best captain we've ever had. So replacing him with Harry Maguire, it does make sense to me. Harry Maguire is always going to play as well, obviously. He's an £80 million defender. He's shown signs of leadership. I don't think he's been quite the leader we all hoped, but he has shown signs. He has captained the team this season. So it is a little bit of a no-brainer. I think when you look at the other people that have captained the team, I think Marcus has captained us. He's a bit too young, really. Maybe long-term he could be the answer.
Do you know what you're missing here? Right. You're absolutely missing this by a mile.
Right,
Paul Pogba, right? The fact that everyone's just totally skipped over the fact that Paul Pogba's not been given the captaincy might as well be that you've just booked his fucking U-Haul for the summer.
6 months ago, he said he wanted to fuck off, mate.
Well, we gave him the vice captaincy, didn't we? We took it off him, and then he said he wants to leave.
I'm not making Man United. I'm not making the Man United.
Is there any
point? Who literally said I want to fuck off 6 months ago. That's
exactly.
mind-boggling to me.
That tells you that he's clearly still going.
I think he is, to be honest, which I think everyone's agreed. It's fine if he wants to go.
Paul Pogba comes out and says, I fucking hate United, I want to leave right now. Some people still say he don't want to go.
Right. 2 players that we might be pissed off about it, right? David De Gea,
no,
I thought would be a shout.
No.
Howson, do you think the only reason for that not happening is because he's a goalie?
No, I think the personality of the guy doesn't seem to be a captain. You shouldn't just get it from being the oldest serving player that's out there, really. There should be some leadership qualities. I also don't agree that Harry Maguire should have got it, but your options are limited here. It's not like you're going, who do I go here with? Steve Bruce, Roy Keane, or Brian Robson? We're not looking at that sort of ilk of player. You're right, Marcus is too young. I'm not sure even he's got the personality to be a United captain. I just don't think De Gea has that captain personality. I mean, look at the way he comes and claims corners. That's your captain. I want my captain to be a little bit more physical, vocal, and like a forceful of a personality. That's the whole idea of a captain, is that they're the manager on the pitch.
I would have loved him to just give it Rashford. I think he could have given it Rashford.
He's got enough on his plate on Marcus in a minute.
How old was Gerrard, Gaz, when they give it him? When he like 22?
Yeah, he was young, mate. Yeah, they took it off Hippier and give it to him, and everyone was a bit like, he's a bit young, isn't he? But, he had that personality, like you said, and he was a scouser, and he took it on board and led by example by the way he played, yeah.
Maybe Marcus wouldn't have been a bad choice.
No, I think it would have been the best one. Right, let's get into predicted 11s. Should we get a Liverpool predicted 11 before we get the United teams?
Go on then. I think we'll let Gaz do that then.
Gaz, who do you think is going to play for you lot?
I think we're pretty much at the stage where it picks itself, a lot of the team now, obviously. So obviously Alisson in goal, Robertson left back, Trent right back. I would say in the past that maybe there'd be a question mark over the Trent thing because, like we said before, Rashford's caused them problems in the past and things like that. But I think he's beyond that now. I think he's actually a bit better of a defender now. I mean, everyone always talks about his assists and his cross, and rightly so, but he's got better at the defending. So, yeah, he'll stay in that right back. I think it'll still be Gomez and Van Dijk. We've had the other centre-halves in training this week, but I think it's a bit too soon to be considering any of those. In the midfield, it'll be Henderson, it'll be Wijnaldum, it'll be the front three, and there's just one midfield slot really that there's a bit of a question mark over. It was Chamberlain last week. He brought him off, he hooked him. We've got options there really about who that other midfielder is, so it'll be interesting to see what he goes with. I mean, there's even wild card shouts that maybe you slot Minamino in there somewhere, but I don't really know where he's at and what Klopp thinks of him quite yet. We've only really seen him in the Everton game. And Everton are shit, so you can't really sort of gauge anything from that one. But so there's just that one position really where there's a little bit of a question mark, but everything else pretty much picks itself, I think.
Shite team that. Right, Howson, who are you picking for United, mate?
Just trying to figure it out here now.
I fucking hate it.
I think Rashford don't make it.
Right.
And I think long term.
Any fucking point?
I mean, this guy's been playing injured since Henderson did him at Old Trafford in February, March, whenever that was. dealing with different knocks. So I think obviously the back five picks itself. De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, Williams, Fred and Matic. Do you know what's actually crazy is that we could complete Bruno Fernandes today and he probably could play Sunday, but I don't think that's going to happen. I reckon that's 5% chance of that.
Ain't he playing in the Porto-Lisbon game? I think I've heard that.
Supposedly we don't want him to, but this might already be out by the time that's happened.
Okay.
Fred and Matic, I think Matic has been brilliant actually since he come back. Very calming influence and exactly what you want from an experienced sort of midfielder, the way he's dealt with everything. You got to go with Jesse in the 10 because this is going to be a counter-attacking game. You expect this United team to sort of press the Liverpool defence and try and get in and around them. And he's the dirtiest, probably the quickest out of the number 10s that we've got, I think. And I would go with his decision-making and the no goals and no assists in whatever over Andreas Pereira, who's probably going to get to the edge of a box, have Greenwood on one side and Marshall on the other side, and then fucking blast it into tier 2. I'd go with Greenwood on the right. I'll go with Dan James on the left, and I'll go with Tony Marshall up front.
I'll go with...
It's more the front line that's the most interesting part.
I'll go with De Gea, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Williams, Matic, Fred. I'll go predicted, so I think he'll play Pereira in the 10 role. I think Marcus will play, so I'll go with Marcus, Martial, and I think he'll plump for Greenwood.
On a serious note, you can get in behind them. The defensive line pushes up to the halfway, and all the chances Liverpool concede come from that, really. Teams that are able to transition really fast and put the ball into the channel. I don't give a fuck if people want to call it long ball. I don't give a fuck if people go, you can only counter-attack. Well, guess what? We only counter-attacked and are the only team that has got a result against Liverpool, and we're one of the few teams that have managed to beat Manchester City by doing it. If it was that fucking simple, don't you think the entire rest of the fucking league would have done it if it's only counter-attacking? United have got some really good attributes of players that can get in behind the way we do. Our problem, I think, is feeding those players with the ball as soon as we transition. If we had Paul Pogba available, I'd actually be fairly confident going into this game if we had Rashford as well. Greenwood's not slow. And I think Greenwood's a one-shot, one kill, I think, if he gets the opportunity. And he's also a kid that's stepping up for the big games too. So I would think he's a threat to score. Tony Marshall's obviously a threat against Liverpool from his debut onwards. But James has been out of the scoring a little bit lately. I think he'd probably be a decent little threat for him. We could definitely get in behind this defence without a shadow of a doubt. We saw it at Old Trafford, and they'll have an even higher line at Anfield. So I think that's the one place that we've got to go. They're going to know it's coming. But this is the same way that sometimes that's just the weakness and nature of that team. That I think we're going to get opportunities there. It's whether or not we can convert them, and more importantly, keep them out the other end.
Gaz, obviously you lot haven't dropped barely any points this season apart from against us, but do you have maybe any specific players in your team, please answer this with yes, that don't quite turn up in the big games like they do in the other games?
I kind of think that's gone now, to be honest with you, mate. That's been there in the past, that's been an issue in the past, but, the mentality of this team and the squad in general has been absolutely brilliant this season. Mentioned Everton before. You saw some of the kids come in for that game and they were superb and they had the same mentality. And that's why we've been so good, really. I think, there's been all kinds of crises at times. Fabinho's been out for a long time. He was absolutely brilliant for us before the injury and everyone went, oh shit, well, how are we going to get through all these games without Fabinho? We've got through them. And we just keep winning. We keep finding a way, and that's what the best sides do. That's what United always used to do. We, believe it or not, reference Ferguson's United an awful lot on the Anfield Wrap because we had to go through all that. And we always say their mentality was something else. They always found a way. Ferguson always pushed on, always wanted to win, and always seemingly did win somehow. And that's what Liverpool have got now, I think. And, I think you're right to say that, what teams do is try and come down Trent's side because, that's what you're going to do because Trent pushes so high. He's so key to us as an attacking force that sometimes there's a little bit of space in behind. But Gomez has got a bit of pace, a bit of recovery pace. I think that's why his partnership with Van Dijk is probably the best at the club now, I think, in terms of centre-halves. And we've only conceded one in the last 11 matches. So, we sort of sorted out the defence now. Earlier on in the season, we were shipping a few goals, but Alisson's back at top form now. Van Dijk's Van Dijk. Gomez has really found his form again, as I say. And you probably will get one or two chances. I would agree with that analysis, really, because, we do play a ridiculously high line. We've even done it now where, because teams are sitting in, obviously the fullbacks push on and everyone knows that, but we've actually saw the centre-halves pushing on. We saw Van Dijk get involved high up the pitch a lot. We saw Gomez take the ball up. Matip was doing the same as well. And I think that is a tactic. It's pretty much, well, if you're going to leave that many people behind, then we're going to push even more people up. And obviously that does offer if you can hit us on the break, you may well get a chance. But, we shall see.
Gaz, score prediction.
I'd love to say that we're absolutely going to batter you, obviously, but it never really sort of turns out that way. I mean, we're still talking about the 4-1 at Old Trafford and the 3-0 at Old Trafford because they were rarities. It was 3-1 last time we played you at Anfield with the Shaqiri goals. I'm hoping for something around the same, to be honest. So I'll say 3-1 again.
Howson, score prediction.
I think this team's got a lot more fight about it. I think there's a lot more unity in this team than the last team that you saw at Anfield, which lost Jose's job. But it's also missing far more out of its key players and missing quality. So you can have all the fight you want. Quality is what wins football matches at the end of the day. Otherwise, we'd have Ant Crawler up front, wouldn't we? You know what I mean? I can't predict us fucking losing at Liverpool, whether I believe it or not. So I'm going to say 1-0 Mason Greenwood or Brandon Williams.
I love it. I was going to say 1-0. I was going to say 1-0 last minute. Liverpool are not even going to try to win. They're going to try and get the draw and they're going to regret it and we're going to get a last minute winner.
I'm hoping, right? When I was a kid, Liverpool were winning titles at the time. Right. But United always sort of turned up in those games and got results. We might not have challenged for the title, but we got results at Anfield, we got results against Liverpool. I mean, we're going back many years now. I'm talking about the 80s when I was very young. But I'm hoping that that's sort of what we can do this time round. Yeah, we're not going to be in the title mix, we know that. But there's no reason why we can't turn up. As Howson's mentioned, we've got players that can score goals. It is, I know it's not technically a derby, but it's that derby atmosphere, it's that derby feel. So I'm going to go with a hugely optimistic 2-1 to United.
Wow. Right. Big thanks to Gaz from the Anfield Wrap for joining us on today's preview. Feel free to go and check those guys out. I mean, if you're a United fan, it makes you a bit of a masochist to do that, doesn't it? But
not very many United fans going to be taking all that.
If you fancy it, go and do it.
I know the golden rule of YouTube and stuff like that is like you give everybody a nice bleeding shout out when you're doing the collaborations like this. But let's be fucking real, gents. Fucking hell.
Howson, nice one for coming on. Jay, as always, a pleasure. My name's Gaz Drinkwater. We'll catch you on the next preview. Let's hope United can do something on Sunday. Get your comments in below. Subscribe. See you next time.